Yeah, everyone, this is Thermite, and this is the Weekly Updates. As always, very first link down below is Weekly Shonen Jump. Please check it out. I just realized something. Uh, Listen to the audio right now, and now I'm just going to turn off the fan, and we'll use this as a live test to see. Um, I noticed that my mic's already crunchy, which is a bit of a problem. I recently replaced this one, got rid of the old, got rid of the old one to recoup the cost of getting a newer one of the same make and model. So I wouldn't have to change too much, hopefully, but the bits would be better inside. And I think honestly, the bits are worse inside of this one. It hasn't been dropped as much as the previous one had over the course of like a couple of years, which was a real hopefully this will help. But a it this has never happened during one of my reactions. I do have OBS up on the side to keep an eye on it. If should this ever change, that immediately tells me okay, so it's not connected anymore. So that has not happened. Here, it has happened in calls with Donut, though. So that's a little concerning. The other big one has been that I think the audio is slightly worse somehow. I mean, probably just because of, the manufacturing. How do I put it? Everything should be precisely the same, but that's just not how physical stuff is. There will just naturally be differences. And so I feel like I rolled the gotcha and I missed on this one. But I do not have the finances to obtain another mic. I could probably, even if I were to sell this one, I'm not going to do it at MSRP because that's crazy. Now, you might also be thinking, why don't you get someone else's mic? The problem is that, I really like this kind of mic where, it is a directional mic. It, captures audio like this. I should really talk about the manga as well, but I do want to, get this through. The whole reason I use this kind of mic is because I've got tons of weird background noise and stuff stuff happening outside. And so I appreciate being able to slice that all out, as it's happening. That both really helps for streaming and, it also just creates a lot less hassle when it comes to actually editing. When I'm looking at the waveforms of the audio, it's very easy to tell, what is where. There are actual silences. It's great. It's great. The only downside, of course, is that if I'm not talking into the mic like this, if I'm talking over here, you can barely pick me up. Not sure if you could even hear most of those words. So yeah, I'll look into a better mic and then I'll probably save up because in terms of a hobby, this one is very, very low cost, which has been extremely, extremely helpful. It really is just the cost of the Shonen Jump thing. My computer is a set cost. Should anything happen there, that's that's a much bigger problem than just the stream. Webcam and all that. Webcam totally fine. Thankfully, human beings have not been able to create a better webcam than the Logitech C920 in terms of what I need it to do. Even with 4K ones, if you downscale to what I record and stream at, which is 720p, it usually looks worse. So, yeah. Long story short, I'm looking into the mic problem. I might also just need to retune it more because right now, I'll listen to this once I've released it to see if the fan is creating the crunchiness. In fact, I'll turn it back on to create a beginning, middle, end where you can kind of hear what's going on. Because I did replace my fan. That's also why when you watch the reaction, you'll notice that my hairstyle is insane. It looks kind of like this, but then this part is up here. It's suspended. Because the air, of course, is pushing it upwards because I don't have a tower fan anymore, because tower fans suck. But they are pretty good when it comes to even flow of shitty air, whereas this one is very good at creating a cylinder of very good air. But I'm realizing now the very good air may be blowing past the mic and thus changing the audio quality. We'll see. Because, yeah, I've also looked into other, NVIDIA RTX voice and whatnot, but the problem with all of that stuff is, the more layers you put onto sound, inherently you are degrading it. There's no way so far to turn shitty sound into good sound. You need, your raw sound needs to be good. And the problem is for, the last 3 mics I have owned, the raw sound has been okay, it's been serviceable, but there's definitely been problems. You could hear some crunchiness, you could hear some peaks, or if I have filters in that'll like stop the peaks, then you can still hear that as well. It's a trade-off. Anyways, that's Mike Talk in manga news. Ichi the Witch, I really enjoyed this one. Very curious to see where we'll go. Like, both sides of the mangaka duo are extremely talented, so it really just comes down to like what are we gonna do here? Like, I don't know if we're gonna do more of a hunting thing, if we're gonna do more of a school thing, if it's gonna be like, a school arc and then more hunting, or vice versa, or if we're like, if we're gonna like ping pong between them. And that doesn't necessarily change how good the series is. I mean, the writer is the same writer as Irmakun, which I know is an insanely good school series, and we don't have a lot of like series in Jump that are like like uh, like non-realistic school like action series and whatnot. Like Mashal is gone, so we've got a big slot open for that. Same with like general like magic and fantasy and whatnot. So yeah, we'll see. Well, one thing that I did not say in the reaction, or rather, I must have said it out loud, but I don't know if I like specified it. I've heard a lot of people like specifically, a lot of people say like, "Oh, I wonder what power the king magic has," or rather, like if it's the king of all the magics, then does it have all the powers or whatnot? My take is that I don't think it's like I think it is literally the king magic. Like, in the same way, like some of the others were like the fire magic or the ice magic. I do think it is like, its magic element is king. And that'll then like, like how that gets interpreted is, well, will be like questionable. But I feel like that's definitely why it's like male exclusive. That's kind of the vibe I'm feeling from it. And I have to imagine, like, while it's really strong, just the fact that it has that restriction means it's probably going to have a bunch of other weird restrictions as well. I think that's probably how we're going to balance him out, and hopefully, like, how we'll, like, integrate his trap stuff. I definitely hope it's not like the first chapter of Demon Slayer, which I recently reread, in which, it's perfectly good, but Tanjiro does some, real puzzle fighting shit that he never, ever does ever again. I completely forgot about that. And that does strike me as a big, like, like of all the various things we learn about him, like there's definitely a gradient from like, most important to least important. And that's like the least important thing, like, but it still stands out as a big, like, oh man, is that how, like, an aspect of how he fights in the future? I hope we don't go down that route of, first chapter, let's do some cool trap stuff. After that, okay, now you're powerful enough that you don't need to do that anymore. I can't imagine that's what it's going to be like. I mean, one of my favorite characters in Black Clover is a trap user, so I'd be very down for a magic trap user. Anyways, apart from that, Undead Unluck, unbelievably good. The fact that it's not number one feels like a crime. As I was editing the episode, or the chapters rather, I was thinking like, oh, can I bump it in post? Can I bump it in post? But I don't think I can. Like, of course my inherent biases have to show. It is, like, the entire ranking is my opinion. But between the One Piece chapter and the Undead Unluck chapter, it feels so unbelievably wrong to not have this One Piece chapter be number one. It's so insanely mind-blowing. It's good. It's crazy. But in the back of my head, I'm still thinking, this is a card that Oda gets to play once. Whereas, like, not only is the Undead Unluck chapter incredible, it plays a card that is just a thing that presumably they can do as much as they want. I imagine there's going to be, like, there are some restrictions to it, but it's a real, like, oh, not only is this the coolest fucking shit you've seen in your entire life, but also, this, this is the symbol of our Undead Unluck. We can just do this. We can just do this to people now. Incredible. Unbelievable. What a fucking series. Elusive Samurai did not expect the Makaido situation to, like, go the way it did. Like, in general, I could kind of see it, but I'd be lying if I said that the actual payoff is something I didn't, that I fully got from the start. Master Shigemu's Rakugo, fantastic as always. Yeah, Jump is on fire. I've heard that in addition to Ichi, there are 2 other series that are coming down the pipeline, which makes sense because like 2 series have already like ended. Psych House and what was the other one? Oh, Necromance. I'm curious what the third one is gonna be. I'm sure people have already like been spoiled on it, If I had to guess, because I threw out a guess before, Kyoshi feels too early. Astro Royale does not feel like it at all. I think that was the one where I said, oh, if something is going to have to be canned here, could be Astro Royale. But yeah, definitely not. Chojo, actually, yeah, Chojo. Chojo was the one where it was like, I've never heard anything bad about it. But, like, in the same way that, like, Psych House is great. People like Psych House for the kind of series that it is. I could see Chojo getting canned under similar, like, auspices. Murakami is also potentially there. Like, we could end next chapter with a big, and then they were the kings of the academy, and then everything was good. The end. But I would hate that. I really really like Murakami. It's great. But yeah, it's the only thing that really stands out to me that I'm also like regularly following. Like, yeah, Kyoshi and Hima 10 are still way too young to be can right now, unless one of them's doing unbelievably bad. And then all the big series, I feel like we're solid on right now. Oh, fuck. Right. Jujutsu Kaisen, right? Right. I forgot about that. So yeah, I guess it would be, yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen, like, has its final chapter for realsies, and then after that, we do, another series to, like, to fill the gap. Also, Hunter x Hunter's coming back in. So yeah, there's some finagling around they'll have to do. We'll see how it goes. That's all the manga talk for this week. Thank you all so much. In personal news, the financial slash job hunting. Job hunting hasn't like taken off yet. I am talking to an agency. I'm talking to the government, getting some help with expanding the reach and like that kind of thing. As a downside of that, of course, I'm being audited a little bit, which is gonna be interesting depending on like how that all shakes out. But it's fine. It's fine. Mainly, like the problem is not a thing that's gonna happen. It's just the headache. It's the headache. But that is what it is. We'll get through it. There will always be a jump tomorrow. So I'll catch you next time for next jump. Bye for now. Yeah. Apologies for the Friday jump. My God, this is so late.